Hello everyone, how are you? This is Monica Shimonik here, and today I'm going to be adding on to a subject matter that I actually covered on Monday. So I'm going to be posting the link to my other live stream into the comments so that you could really understand what I'm talking about. It's best to probably watch that one and then watch this one, or you can just watch this one and go back and watch that one. I talked about how important it is for you to defend yourself in family court. Now, when I say defend yourself, I don't mean proving yourself. There's a difference between showing up in court with the mommy resume or the daddy resume, where you're trying to get the job as parent. You're not trying to show the court that you're fit for the job. Just by virtue of being a parent, you are automatically qualified for the job. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but that's just what the law says. When you have a child, you are assumed under the law to be a fit parent. And the reason I know this is because the Supreme Court said so, but also the reason I know this is because after you have a baby in the hospital, they just send you home. You don't have to jump through hoops and take tests, and you don't have to have someone monitor you diapering your baby or bathing your baby or breastfeeding or holding your baby. No one is there with a clipboard taking notes on how you perform as a parent. There's no application to fill out. There's no essay to write. There's no psychological test that you have to take in order to take your baby home. So a lot of people will disagree with me when I say you're automatically qualified for the job just by virtue of being a parent. A lot of people will be like, oh no, my ex is a jerk, my ex is a narcissist. But the law still presumes that the biological parent is a fit parent. Okay, so the law presumes that, and it's further proven when you're allowed to take your baby home from the hospital without having to jump through a lot of hoops. So getting back to court, when I say that when you go to court, you have to be in the mindset where you're going to be defending yourself, but not proving yourself. So again, don't show up to court with the mommy resume, the daddy resume. You do not have to bring character witnesses to court and to talk about what a great person you are. People will bring in their neighbor, their dog groomer, their barber, their mother, their best friend, their boss. People bring in all these people to court. And I know this because when I worked in the court system as an ADA advocate, I would literally I would show up and they would have like the Brady Bunch with them to talk about what a great person they are. And it's like, you're going to put all these people on the witness stand, and your lawyer's going to question all these people for how long? And what happens if you have to appeal and you have to get all those transcripts? You're going to be paying $3 to $5 a page to have your next door neighbor talk about you being a considerate neighbor and a good parent. I'm exaggerating, but this is the kind of stuff parents think they need to do. They literally think that they have to do this in order to keep the job as parent. So you're not applying for a job. That's a bad energy to be in, okay? Be in the dynamic where you are going in confidently being able to defend yourself. And that's what I spoke about on Monday, and I will attach that live stream. I had a few parents contact me after I made that live stream, and one or two of them said, I'm going to be incarcerated. I'm going to get thrown in jail if I dare defend myself in court. There's a lot of talk about how you'll get thrown in jail if you talk about your constitutional rights. There's a lot of people that believe that. And my question is always, and again, look, if someone told me that they saw pink elephants in the courtroom, I would believe them, because I believe that anything is possible in the family court. It's a lawless society. It's a lawless institution. So if someone tells me something happened, I'm going to believe them, because everything that you can think of that can go wrong goes wrong in family court. But I have not yet seen a parent ever go to jail for asserting their rights on the record. I have not yet seen that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I just personally have never witnessed it. And with the 200 or so parents I've worked with over the past 5 years, I haven't seen it. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So my question for you is, where are you getting this information? Did it happen to you? Did you ever go to jail for saying, Your Honor, I would like to exercise my rights under informed consent. Marshal comes up, slaps handcuffs on you, and throws you into a cell. Has that ever happened? If you told me that happened, I would believe you. I just have not seen that happen or heard of that happening that way. Do not take this as legal advice. Don't be like, oh, I watched a live stream and therefore I'm going to do all this. You're still responsible for your own case. You're still responsible for the laws in your state. I'm just giving you things that you can use to help you get to that empowered place where you're in court and you feel more protected. And the reason you feel protected is because you're relying on your own resources to protect you. You're not relying on the marshal, you're not relying on an attorney, you're not relying on the law working. You are relying on yourself, and you have what it takes to be powerful in family court. I don't care how corrupt your case is. A lot of parents will not go to court as the best version of themselves. They're going to go to court fearful and not powerful, because they're afraid of going to jail if they dare open their mouth to say anything, just for saying one sentence. So in order for you to feel more comfortable and safer with exerting your power in the courtroom, I want you to have a little bit more academic stuff that you can use as a tool. Relying on your value system and using your value system as your greatest asset is one of the greatest ways to have your power in the courtroom. So having some academic knowledge will help you get that flow where you're feeling okay. Now I'm going to tell you something. I feel great when I'm in the courtroom. Is it stressful? Yes, it's very stressful. I get heart palpitations. I get sweaty palms. I get I get the lump in my throat. I get migraines. I have all the symptoms that I was speaking about in my other live. But when I'm in the courtroom, I feel really good about myself. And I want you to feel good about yourself when you're in the courtroom. You're going to have symptoms. You're going to feel scared. But you know what? Musicians get scared before they go on stage. People who do speaking gigs, they get nervous before they go on stage. I get nervous every time I put on my live stream. It's natural. It's just the human nature to feel some symptoms, palpitations, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean that you should not be standing in your power. Because if everybody who felt symptomatic before having to be a really powerful version of themselves didn't do it because of those symptoms, then we would never get shit done in this planet. Nobody would ever put their ideas out there. Nobody would ever do anything. No one would ever. I mean, think about like when you're a kid growing up, like the first time you rode a bike, the first time you took your driver's test, the first time you took your SATs. You were scared, but you still did it. And by doing that, you were able to progress in life. So don't let this bullshit like, oh, I shouldn't be doing certain things because it freaks me out. It makes me scared. I get heart palpitations. Don't let your body's symptoms stop you from standing in your power, being the best version of yourself. So having the academic tools is so valuable because that's what's going to help you with your confidence. So I'm going to just tell you some stuff that I believe to be true. I'm not saying this is the truth. I'm just saying as a non-attorney, this is the knowledge that I acquired with my research, okay? I'm not legally qualified to say this, but you know what? If you're an attorney and you're watching this and you're about to like report me to the bar, it's because attorneys aren't doing their freaking jobs. They're not helping their clients. So they're forcing us to go and do our own research and our own advocacy, which I'm not against, by the way. I really believe that we should start depending on ourselves more and less on attorneys and everybody else in the system. The system breeds a mindset of dependency, and it's up to us to like push back on that and not let that happen because it makes us lose our cases. Well, okay, I'm gonna take that back. It doesn't make you lose your case, okay? It's not your fault that you lost your case. You didn't lose your case because you didn't have the right mindset. You lost your case because family court isn't a legal court. So I'm gonna scratch that. But the dependency model, the breastfeeding model, is what gets us into this world of shit with our case, where we're stuck in these contracts and these situations. I mean, it's awful. Okay. I'm 10 and a half years in. I still don't have my son. It's not a fun place. So we need to start depending on ourselves more. So I believe the attorneys are actually in a way doing us a favor by not doing their jobs because it's going to force thought leaders and go-getters and hustlers like you. If you're watching this, you've already stepped into that a little bit just by watching this live stream. So it's up to us to fix this system. The thought leaders, hustlers, go-getters, we're going to be the ones to change the system, not the bar association. So in a way, them being lazy and complacent with the bad laws and the illegal activities is actually going to help us in the long run. So I'm going to tell you what I know to be true about incarceration, because that is like the big bad wolf. I'm going to get incarcerated. If I say this, I'm going to get incarcerated. So In a family court, it's a civil court. If you go to jail in civil court, typically it would be for civil contempt. And the whole purpose of civil contempt is to coerce you to taking an action. So for example, the judge says, you have to have a psych eval, and you say, no, I don't want one. And he says, too bad, you're gonna take a psych eval anyway, sign your consent right now. I'm not saying that's exactly how it happens. I'm just making this up. And you say, no, I don't want to. Or even like, I don't want to go to co-parenting therapy. And the judge says, well, I'm going to force you to go to co-parenting therapy anyway. And you say no. And the judge basically forces you into that. And you're still saying no. The judge will say, well, because you're violating an order, I'm going to throw you in jail so that until you comply with the order. So that's civil contempt. So the purpose of putting someone in jail on a civil contempt is to coerce I don't know the right word, following the order, coerce compliance, which really, it's a violation of informed consent and all these things, but that's basically what they're doing. Same with child support. If you don't pay the $5,000 that you owe, we're going to put you in jail until you come up with that money. So that's civil contempt. The philosophy behind incarcerating somebody on a civil contempt charge is that the person in jail supposedly has the keys to their own freedom by simply complying with the order or agreeing to the psych eval or paying the $5,000, coughing up the money. So I'm going to go back to what these parents are telling me. If I say this, I'm going to go to jail. If you say something in court and you go to jail for saying something, it's no longer civil contempt, it's criminal, because it would be a punitive action. The judge is punishing you for speaking up on the record and asserting your rights on the record. So if you say, I disagree with this, I object to this, I'm going to say no to this, anything like that, if you're putting your rights on the record and the judge says, that's it, I'm going to throw you in jail just because you said that thing, that now becomes a punitive action, because there's no order to comply with. They're putting you in jail because they're pissed off at you for being powerful, basically. So how do you undo that? How do you get out of jail? If you're in there to be punished, you're going to the naughty chair, the jail cell. How do you comply with something to get out? You can't, because so therefore it would not be classified as civil contempt. Again, not legal advice. This is just my understanding of the law. Check with an attorney, check with Ron and Sherry Palmer. Send them this live stream, send your attorney this live and say, is this true or not? How do I, help me, And also remind them, hey, if you were representing me properly, I wouldn't have to watch this live stream, but we won't go there. We're going to be nice today. So it now becomes a criminal contempt. How the hell do you get out of that? You just sit in jail for the next 50 years because you said something? So this is what I want you to do. Not legal advice. This is just what I would do. And I have faced incarceration before, and this was my plan. I had this all planned out, and I want you to plan it. Don't just go in there and be triggered and start blurting your rights out there and not having an escape route. You want to have a plan. You want to, before court, while you're like shaving or brushing your teeth or whatever, I want you to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and if I end up going to jail, I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. While you're being handcuffed, this is what I would do. If this is all true, that it really does happen, that a parent will say one sentence and go right to jail, okay? Like Monopoly, go straight to jail. I have not seen this, but if this is in fact true for you, this is what I want you to do. While the marshal's coming over and handcuffing you and all that fun stuff, I want you to say, because there's still going to be a person typing, I want you to say, I need a list of charges, Your Honor. I want a list of charges. I want my rights read to me. I want an attorney. Ask for an attorney. Say this. I need an attorney. I need my rights written to me. I want a trial. I want all of the things that people who are accused of a crime, I want all of those rights. I want all the same rights. That's going to create an interesting scenario. Now, you might still go to jail if, in fact, what these parents are telling me is true. You might still go to jail, but you have a beautifully protected record for something in the future, a lawsuit, an appeal, something. You have an asset now, and that is the court transcripts. Another thing I would recommend, have a buddy that you trust to call and order those transcripts immediately, like that day. Have a plan. Get your friend to order those transcripts. before anybody has a chance to doctor the record. Get all the transcripts, and the transcripts, like oftentimes if transcripts are going to be altered, and this does happen, okay, I've had evidence in my case destroyed, this does happen with parents where transcripts are altered, evidence is destroyed. So before anyone has a chance to do that, because judges are notoriously lazy, they are procrastinators. If they want to destroy a record, they'll often do it later, okay, because they underestimate us. They think we're stupid. They've been watching us comply for 50 years, and they think that we're just stupid and that we're not going to do anything. Get a friend of yours to call and place a transcript order immediately, okay? And you'll have to go to your court website to learn the logistics of all that fun stuff. Transcript ordering. Find out who the transcriptionist is, or the stenographer, whatever that word is. Get your transcripts. And that's what I want you to do. When you have a plan, you're going to feel better about all this stuff. When I was facing incarceration, I was 7 months pregnant and I was still nursing my 2-year-old. I had a baby that was depending on me for breast milk, so, and I was 7 months pregnant. And I remember thinking, am I willing to go to jail over, at this point? What bothered me about that was the timing. I was like, if I was 5 months along, if I was 4 months pregnant, it would be so much easier, but I'm 7 months pregnant. And if they hold me for 60 days, I don't want to give birth in freaking jail. That was what I was literally, this is what I was planning in my brain, but I wasn't scared. I was more concerned with the pregnancy than oh my God, I can't go to jail. It would be so awful. I'm not saying don't feel bad about the possibility of going to jail. I'm not saying be all zen about it. You don't have to be and freaking meditate your way out of the discomfort. But I just remember being in that frame. It was more important for me to put my rights on the record than it was for me to just sit there and not say anything. So I remember really flirting with this possibility. So now my baby's 2, my youngest is 2. The baby I was pregnant with is now 2. My other one's 4. I'm at the point where I'm okay with whatever happens to me if I put my rights on the record. So I just want to give you another perspective. Maybe it's not what you think it is. And learning about civil contempt, criminal contempt, all that fun stuff, incarceration, learn how this works. Don't just immediately say, well, I'm not going to say that because I'm going to go to jail. I don't believe that that's happening. I haven't seen it. If it does happen, please notify me, let me know. And I'll be more than happy to make another live stream. If this happened to you and you want to let me know about it, I'll make another live stream. So I'm going to have to end this, but I appreciate you coming on, and I hope this was useful for you. Okay? Have a good one. Bye-bye.